Hey, my friends, today is going to be war stories, the stories that shaped our weeks, months, and in turn, careers.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Daman says, "Good morning, happy Kennedy." Damon's total champ this week.
He came strong this week. We got to see from you, David, if you want.
No, I asked Damon yesterday. I said, "Do you want to come on for the War Day?" And he says, "You know what?" He goes, "You got enough people. I'll come on another time." I said, "Okay, no problem. I get it." So, Damon, just so you know, look, we got Kennedy in the house, and my man right down here on this side, Mr. Jeff, is already on Independence Day. We don't even get to have Canada Day before we all jump into this Independence Day. I'm telling you. And not to go too deep into it because I'll have a whole country against me, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Good morning. Now, I think Mark Ridley's ready to get back in. Mark, can you hear us, brother? No, we're still on a Sprint commercial. Can you hear me now? Nope. Mark's going to go backstage again. So happy Canada Day, everybody. Today and Monday are actually going to be pretty cool days. The four of us, if Mark can grab his respective phone to start working on us, we're going to talk about war stories. We're going to share some stories from our tenure in this wonderful world of logistics and supply chain in trucking, all the way around the world, from Australia with Dean over back to us in North America. And we are going to actually, I think Mark, no, I thought he had it in the background. So we're going to have to, there you go. Leave it like that.
No worries.
All right. So who wants to start?
In and out. We're trying.
We'll start with the oldest. Go with Dean.
Who's the most experienced? Who has the best stories?
So Dean,
I could be the oldest.
I got you.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, Dan. I've had some fascinating stories from my time on the road. A lot of them I wouldn't want to share on the radio. There's one I will, because I think it's just it's indicative of the industry that we're in and what role trucking plays in the supply chain. As a teenager growing up in Australia, there was a trucking fleet in our town that always had shiny trucks. They had chrome stacks, chrome wheels. So in the mid-70s, this was really unusual. So they were cool way before any of the custom truck business came along. They had the shiniest, biggest, fastest, loudest trucks you've ever seen in your life. So in the mid-70s, that was pretty unusual. It always caught everyone's attention. Everyone hypothesized as to what they were hauling in their reefer vans. And they had about 40 of these trucks. So I grew up in this town with these guys. I always wanted to drive for them, was my goal. And I ended up driving for them, hauling produce out of what they call the Murrumbidgee irrigation area, which is an area where a lot of things are grown. So I'm hauling produce. It's a Saturday night. I'm running out there. It's about an 8-hour drive out to the middle of the state that I'm in, New South Wales, and we load produce. And as you do on farms, and the reason I think this is relevant, a lot of produce haulers today have to do multiple pickups on farms. Because of the ag hauler's exemption, within 150 air miles, you can do multiple pickups without recording on duty. So growers tend to take advantage of that and get you to do pickups all over the area, even with these, big trailers. And keep in mind, I had a 9-axle B train. So, there's a lot on farms. It's hard to get them into areas that are dirt roads across little culverts and drains and things like that. So you're doing multiple pickups. It's really arduous. And then the hard part is you've got to do at best a 9 to 10 hour haul into the markets, and you have to be there at 3 a.m. for the market to open. So whenever you run market freight, no matter where you're going in the country, if it's a Sunday night market or a Saturday night market, you have to be there on time. Otherwise, they don't hand you the wad of cash for the load, and it's cash. I mean, you get a big big bankroll of cash. So he says, my boss says, just run over to this farm and pick up 4 pallets of citrus. So, oh, sure, right, I'll throw them on the back of the second trailer. Backed it into this shed. All the workers are around. We load the 4 bins on, and I looked at these. They were clementines, and they were rotten and smelly and stinky. And I said, "There's no way anybody's going to eat these. And they're not even for juicing. They're not even juicing quality." Anyway, didn't think another thing of it. Heading into Sydney on the freeway, there's I saw these motorbike lights behind me, tailing me, and this went on for a couple of hours, and. As a driver, you're always watching who's following you. And for no other reason than I just like to know who's behind me, because when the cops are sitting behind you, you've got to do the right thing. Of course, we were running pretty fast.
He does the right thing.
Dean
all the time,
always stayed legal, my friend.
Yeah.
Always stayed it's just one of those things.
I was never late. Put it that way. I was always on time.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, if you know what 311 diff ratios are in the back end and a 15 double overdrive, you research that, you'll know how fast that thing can run. Anyway, I saw that, and then they pulled up alongside me about an hour out. And I'm just sitting there driving along. I had my little cap on that I used to drive in, my little Scottish cap, and and the guy looked up at me and kind of just does this, the head nod. And I thought, who are you? I mean, there's a few other swear words in the middle of that, but he had the Black Ulan rockers on, the Black Ulans. The Black Ulans are the toughest, meanest, baddest motorbike club in Australia, and well known for trafficking drugs and manufacture and trafficking of. Anyway, I pulled into Sydney and they're there. And I suddenly realized what was in the 4 bins of citrus.
And you were wondering why the clementines were rotten, because they don't need to.
Yeah, so it's like a smoke screen. But the thing is, you can't, when they unload you at the markets, the unloaders don't let you out of the truck. You back up, they open the doors, they unload the 40 pallets in like 5 minutes, and it just vanishes. And then the guy comes up to the door and hands me all this cash. And that was like, so go back to the 1970s, I immediately knew why the trucks all had chrome and shiny chrome.
Yeah.
So that was one of my stories.
So you were a mule, is what you were saying.
Yeah, and you know what? It goes on today.
Yes,
for sure.
Whether it's in the tires, in an inflated tire, or it's under the floor, it's that's how a lot of contraband is trafficked around this country, is unfortunately in trucks.
Yes.
And other vehicles, of course. But I asked a policeman one day who was on that same road. He pulled me over for speeding, and he said, I said, so what about all these drug traffickers? And he said, well, it's like this. It's like trying to, cure a mouse plague with a cat. Your best cat is going to get 5, 1 on each foot, and they're going to sit on one. The best cat. He said, so you guys out here running past me at 100 miles an hour, we've got no chance of stopping you guys. We just got no chance. So we just pick off everyone now and then. So it was your turn today.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that's a good one, brother. That's a good one. That's a good story.
It's a good analogy. The mouse plague.
It's a great one.
Who's next? That's a great one.
Jeff?
Hey, Mark. Can you hear us? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
okay, so I'll share a story with you guys.
Yeah, he must.
So, as you guys, most of you know, in 2005, we opened up a brokerage company that was the logistics end of an asset-based company. And inside teamwork, it was mainly referral business. We hired a couple of salespeople, and we opened an office in Montreal. And through this process, you really start meeting a lot of people when you have the say to make things happen or not. And I get a call from this guy, Anton, one day. And he introduces himself and he says, a buddy of yours, Sonny, suggested I give you a call. And I'd done a lot of business with Sonny. I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah, for sure. And he says, so I'm moving booze out of Miami into Toronto. He says, and it goes into the LCBO warehouse. So for those of you in Ontario or I think it's probably Canada-wide except Quebec. The Liquor Commission Board of LCBO, it's only Ontario, Liquor Commission Board of Ontario. So they manage and distribute all the alcohol in Ontario. So if you're ever bringing product in, it's got to go to these facilities. So he's saying all the right things. And I said, okay, well, what do you got? He goes, well, I got about 12 loads a week. And now you got to think 12 loads a week. We were charging him $8,500. So that's about $102,000 a week. And I said, okay, well, I'll take one or two and we'll see how it works. And so day one, we grabbed 2 loads. Day 2, we grabbed 3 loads. And day 4. So anyways, come the end of the 2 weeks, we've hauled 24 loads for this guy. And my accountant at the time, the accountant side of the business comes to me and goes, Dad, like you're $204,000 in with these people and you're 2 weeks in. Do you think you'd call the customer and get some money off of them? Because like by the time the first invoice is due, he's going to be up to $500,000. That's a lot of exposure in the market. And I said, yeah, okay, no problem. And I mean, we did credit apps and everything on this company, right? It was a solid company. And so I call Anton and I said, listen, like we gotta get the payment. I said, it's been 2 weeks, but I hope you can imagine at $8,500, it adds up quick. He says, yeah, no problem. He goes, listen, I'm going to Toronto. I take public transit because I don't like to be stuck in, traffic. And I'm like, it makes sense. A lot of people do it. He goes, meet me at the train station. So I meet him at the train station the next morning. And this guy jumps in my car. He's like, what kind of car are you driving? I'm texting him back and forth. I said, I'm in this car. So all of a sudden the door opens and the guy gets in. And he pulls out his backpack, puts it on the floor, opens up, and pulls out a brown paper bag and hands it to me. He goes, here's all your invoices paid. And I'm like, what? He says, here, yeah, just take it. And so now I've got like $200,000 in a paper bag. And I'm like, holy crap. I mean, my sphincter tightened up. I'm thinking, I'm going to get robbed. Like, this is a whole setup, right? Like, I'm totally thinking, as I pull out of this parking lot, I am going to be shot and killed. And somebody's going to, like, my brain's going in overload. Never once did I think, why is this guy paying me in cash? Like, my brain shifted to a whole. Anyways, so I get out of there and I'm like speeding and I'm whipping down the road. Like, I don't want to stop at stoplight thinking, Dean, Dean, you were saying you're conscious of who's behind you, man. I was aware of everyone in front of me. And I'm thinking like somebody's going to turn and I'm going to, like in movies and then somebody's going to come behind you and I'm going to be like, oh my God. I get to the office. I run upstairs and I go to the office. I go, Rob, Tony, we got to meet right now. And we go to Rob's office. And I said, okay, so Anton met me and he paid me. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, and so I reached down in my bag and I pull out I don't know if you guys have ever seen $200,000 in cash. It's a lot of money. And I said here, and I dropped it on the desk and both of them just stopped. And they looked at me and they said, in sequence, they're like, you're not taking another load from this guy again. I'm like, no, I know that. I understand that. Tony opens the bag and goes, I can't just walk into the bank and deposit this. It was literally, we set up a plan where he would deposit like $10,000 every 4 days or something. So like bells wouldn't go off. So I call Anton back. I go, listen, like I can't like take cash. I said, if you could pay check or whatever. He goes, no, it's all cash. Unfortunately, it's just the business. And being naive, I was like, oh, okay. Well then, I unfortunately, as much as like they were very profitable, I can't do it anymore. Well, Canadian Border Patrol calls me like about 5-6 weeks later. And this woman says, have you been moving freight? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So she comes into the office. Rob comes into the office, like Jesse, all the partners were all sitting there. And she goes, okay, so you've been part of an illegal smuggling ring. And I'm like, okay. And she says, so if you don't have proper signed bills of ladings, unfortunately, you're actually part of it. Ooh. And so luckily we like all the bills were signed and we kind of had the bill signed at the shipper and the receiver. So what was actually happening when we dug into it, when the Canadian Border Patrol dug into it, is we would be giving them ETAs, obviously, because you got $1 million worth of booze coming up the road. They want to know where it is when it arrives. When it would get there, the driver would walk in and check in. They'd say, oh, this particular delivery is delivering across the street. The driver wouldn't think anything of it because it's a full, like a complete bonded facility. Truck goes across the street. Guy opens the door, same outfit, unloads the truck. So lo and behold, in 2 weeks, 24 truckloads, $24 million worth of booze was offloaded and disappeared.
Wow.
And yeah, and it was it was crazy when, like, just the whole experience. Great freight. Like, we were making probably close to 1,500, $2,000 a load. Like, I was hoping that stuff would continue forever, because I'm thinking, well,
Right.
like, everybody's drinking booze, it's not going to stop. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was just one of those where it was, oh my Lord. Like, and
Oh
so
my
it was
goodness.
actually the bill of ladings
Yeah.
and the way we had load tenders and the way we set up the bills, and that was what saved us. It truly was what saved us. And the fact that that was the first time in my life, the fact that we did not dedicate freight because it was so new and it came so hot and heavy, we didn't really have time to set it up properly, because I was always been a dedication guy. Those two things, the bills and non-dedicated, actually pulled us out of the mix, because they realized that there's no way we could have been part of it. It was just everything happened too quick. I mean, I had to give up
That's
every single
crazy.
email. Oh yeah, I had to give up every single email. They printed my phone logs, every single phone call, and it was like sitting with the customers going, "Okay, this phone call, what was it about?" I'm like, "Gosh, I don't know. Like, that was 3 weeks ago, and it was like a 5-minute call." And I'm like, "You're trying to," and it was like the hot seat. It was one of these things where I'm sitting there and I'm honestly sweating, thinking, am I about to go down for something like I had no clue was even happening? It was crazy, crazy.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I've got a good one. Back in the 90s.
I thought you were going to say back in the 60s.
All right, see you guys. So back in the 90s, I worked for Onkyo USA, a big CPG company, and we worked with a wood specialty products. They did the cabinets for a stereo system, the kit side of it, and they were located in Rogers, Arkansas, and they used to send up all the kits, the speakers and everything, to Ramsey, New Jersey, and then we would take that, put it together, and then send it down to Florida. And I said, you know what, that doesn't make any sense. Let me go down there and talk to them and see if we can get a DC, because it's close to Florida, and we'll bring our stereo equipment down there, complete it, and then send it to Florida. It would save a lot of money. So I go down there, and it's my second day there, and I'm walking around the plant and everything, and then I hear somebody say, "Gun!" And I went, "What?" Everybody hits the ground. We're on maneuvers. It was real. The guy did have a gun, and we're crawling on our stomachs and everything. And I'm looking for that first door. And as I'm opening up the door, I'm saying to myself, holy shit, he knows I'm going through the door, you know? And I'll tell you what, it doesn't get any realer than that when you're in a situation and you see people scrambling. No shots were fired, but we went flying out that door, and it was one of the worst experience of my life in the industry, because I really thought that it was going to be like a mass shooting of some type.
Wow.
Well, you know what? From Jersey, I would expect the first thing you to do is, that's not a fucking gun. This is a gun, boy. Don't bring a pea shooter to a gunfight, boy.
Yeah,
and that's gotta be scary, brother.
Oh man, I'm telling you, and it was the same company. That's the bad, and here's the funny part of it. Not to deal with the gun, but my boss and myself, Nick Ziss, and he'll attest to this. Hi, Nick. We used to load the trailers of electronic equipment, 53 footers, about 25 to 2,800 pieces, hand stacked in a trailer. And so my boss and I, we go, you know what? Let's help out the guys. We'll take a trailer and we'll start loading it. So we start loading it, and we get towards the end of the trailer, and we're standing at the door, and my boss goes, Where's my wallet? And I went, what? And lo and behold, he lost his wallet on the second row in the nose of a 53-footer with 2,800 piece boxes stacked in there. And we had to go and unload it. It took us 2.5 hours to load it by hand, and another about 2 hours to offload it. And it was in the middle of the summer. It was one of those see-through type roofs that was like 125 degrees at the top level, and we lost 10 pounds. But
One of those trailers, when you open the door, it feels like when you're camping and the morning sunshine comes out and the tent just is like 9,000 degrees.
It was like a blast furnace, like a blast furnace. So I never let my boss down from that 25 years later.
Nice. Yeah. That's one of those ones where, I'm going on lunch. You have a good time, and we'll see you when I get back.
Oh yeah. We used to bring our jeans to work because we always were part of the troops and helped everybody out, man. How to get in those tournaments.
For sure. James says, I'm late, DJ. Don't fire me. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good,
and then Scott says, good morning. I have a few for sure. Well, Scott,
hey, share them. Anybody out there with stories, share them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott, if you want to join us Monday, let me know, and we'll bring you on. We'll bring you on the show Monday. So, who's up now? Mark, are you with us, brother? Or are you just enjoying the entertainment on the backside?
Can you hear me?
Oh. Yeah. The sky's parted, the sunshine comes in, Ridley is here. That is awesome.
The handsomeness has begun.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Behind you.
I didn't realize that. I thought you introduced this as war story. Like, I just seem to be surrounded by criminals right now. I'm a finance guy. I can't get mixed up in this stuff. There's laws that prevent.
You mean you're trying to tell me in the financial world you have no stories?
Oh.
Well, I mean, when I started out banking in early 90s, I worked in a branch in East London. So people walking in with shotguns and taking money from it was kind of like part of the daily kind of grind.
So part of the application was, so how are you with guns being put in your face? You okay with it, or are you going to be okay?
Well, the first 3 or 4 shotguns, you're like, shit, I'm going to die. And then you realize they don't really want to shoot you. They just want the money. So you just have money and you're away, it becomes part and parcel. What becomes really weird though is when you kind of on first name terms with armed robbers.
Mark, you just said when it comes to the banking world, it's part and parcel that you're going to get robbed. I love it. It's like, just another day.
Let me caveat that. In branches in East London, so don't want to put out. Yeah. But like from a perspective, my only war story is trying to get here right now. I'm on the road. I've been stuck behind. I should very careful how I say this. I've been stuck behind a truck. And what I really do like, my only war story for today, is a truck that's doing 65 behind another truck that's doing 65. Decides, I think it's a good idea to overtake the truck in front of me on a hill and fix. So let's all just sit behind those guys for 45 minutes while they battle it out. But that's my war story for today. But in terms of being in banking, having been robbed, I think that's kind of really bad as pretty much as it can get. I thought.
Nice. So I saw Dean shake his head there, but before we get to that, here is. Hey, Dean, you're on the other side of the fence of this now, brother.
Yeah, nice.
There you go.
So here we go. The lane of the day today is Los Angeles, California to Chicago. $1.74 line haul rate per mile, fuel surcharge all in, $2.48 a mile. Contracted rates at $3.16 a mile, including fuel. Here's the year-over-year spot rate change per mile, minus 97 cents. Holy crap. Now, this line haul rates are trending upward after a steady decline of about $1.37 a mile since January and 10 cents a mile higher than the May average. So from January, it's probably one of the biggest lanes that we've seen a decrease in since we've been doing lane of the day. So let's talk about your week in review here for a minute. So dry van, $1.94 a mile. We're looking, this is over across North America. Line haul week over week change has been flat. We're talking year over year change of minus 42 cents and an all-in rate of $2.68 a mile. We're 11 cents a mile lower than 2018, underpinning the high fuel surcharge and steady RG compliance. Second one for the reefer market is $2.27 a mile. We're up 3 cents a mile, which is awesome, but down 52 cents a mile year over year to a total tune of all-in rate of $3.08 per mile. That's 12 cents a mile lower than 2018, underpinning the low volume of produce season again. Now, flatbed, y'all, all y'all flatbed, huge industrial market rising, $2.51 a mile. It's actually down 4 cents a mile. And minus 23 cents year over year, all in rate is $3.40. However, it is 5 cents a mile higher than the 2018 average, underpinning how steady the industrial economy is at present. That is your DAT lane review and review of the week on Lane of the Day. Thank you, Dean, and to Christina for providing us that information. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So DJ, we got like 4 minutes and 10 seconds for you to tell your story.
You know, I don't really have I don't have any good stories. I actually don't have. I don't have any. I can tell you about a lot,
folks. So
I can tell you about a lot lizard story. You want to hear that story?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah.
So had a driver one time, and they made some bad decisions, and they needed an advance, and we had no clue why. And so I'm new to this, so I have no clue what they're even asking me or why they're asking me. I'm like, I don't know why he's asking me. He just says he needs an advance. Well, you got to find out why. And he had the lot lizards person there to collect, and he didn't have the money. So.
See, that's what's wrong with the hours of service. You got to spend too much time in truck stops.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It's crazy. That's awesome. Okay, well, you know what? That's awesome, boys. We got like 5 minutes left. If you all want to share another one, or you just want to.
Anybody else got a good one?
Out?
Yeah, I'll tell you a good one. And I told Dan and DJ about this one where there was a pup train that was traveling through Nevada, and this is the Fast and Furious at its best. This was back in the 90s, and when you're traveling at 75, 80 miles an hour in a truck with some tandems in the back of you, and you're going through the middle of the desert, nobody's around, weird things happen. And what happened with this, and I'm trying to make a long story short, is that somebody came up with an incredible idea of taking a pickup truck and putting a platform on the hood of the truck, and had cables that could hook into the back of an ICC bar. And what these guys did at night was that they had night vision goggles. And this is what the police said, that it was the only way of doing it possible, that they pulled up, put the truck in neutral, hooked into the back of the ICC bar, opened up the doors of the trailer, and it was an inside job. And they had a bar in there so that it wouldn't flap, the doors wouldn't flap open. The guys went from the backside of the truck over the cab to the hood truck and started offloading. They knew exactly what they were doing. And then when they were completed, they just unhooked, except there was one hook that was left in the ICC bar. And they just went to neutral with no lights on or anything and just coasted behind. The driver never knew what hit him, because when you're traveling at that speed and you're keeping up speed with them, you're not going to know that something hooked into you, especially if it's light. And they found that out about 2-3 weeks later. And this was in the early 90s. The same kind of thing happened on an intermodal train going through the desert, where you have the service lane on next to the tracks. And they had like a cage off the side of a pickup that they were able to cut into the COFC containers and take product off of that as well. I mean, I have a ton more stories than that, but they were very inventive, very, very inventive back then.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Well, you know what? They're always inventive. Mark, before we go, brother, can you give us an update on the financial market and currency exchange and do your summary?
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, I think it's his internet is down.
Yeah, he's froze.
Yeah, I think he's froze. But
Scott, either that or he's pretending.
Scott says he wants a time for Monday.
Yeah, definitely, Scott. I'll hook up with you off air, brother, and we'll get you a link for Monday.
And I got to hear about this.
Spike insurance on this load of crab. Nice. All good until it goes missing forever. 100%. All right, gents. Well, that was fun. Hey, Monday is going to be a good one. So I'll come with your war stories Monday. Monday, we're going to do another episode of War Stories here on Sales Chatter, everybody. Unfortunately, Mark Ridley couldn't be with us. Update. Yeah, we lost Mark. Rest in peace, sir. Mark was supposed to give us an update on the financial market. You see, as soon as I said, "Hey, can you give us an update on the currency exchange?" He was like, "He's gone.
I'm gone."
He said something about watch out for the banks, and then he disappeared when we asked for what's going on. I don't know.
Remember what happens in London? Yeah. The sarcasm is flowing today, boys. It's good. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Daman. Thank you to Centurion Trucking. Thank you for letting us share your war stories. Happy Canada Day, everybody. Canada Day today. Then y'all can have Independence Day on Monday. Okay? How's that?
Right.
Happy 4th of July, guys.
Yes, happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Obviously, hopefully you like the story. Share the stories in the chat as well. Scott, can't wait to hear this crab story. I never moved crab. I was too scared. But the dude that was next to me, he had a lot of those stories, and I remember to take Dan's line, his sphincter was tight very often when he was moving those loads. So I can't wait to hear that story. Thank you, everybody, for joining us weekly like you do. Sales Chatter Live, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Start your day right with us. Get yourself in the right mood, ready to take on the week and design the life of your dreams. Scared now.
There you go.
I'm reading the chat over here. Hey, Mark.
Gentlemen. Yeah,
Mark, we thought you left us as soon as we asked for a market review on foreign exchange, and you were gone. I was like, I didn't.
I was all ready to go for that.
I'm out of here.
That's okay. I figured somebody put a shotgun in your window or something, and you were gone. I don't know.
We thought you had to run.
Here's another very vanilla, boring war story. My iPad decided that it doesn't like heat, so it was sitting on the dashboard. Yes. And but again, like coming back to the war stories, you got to remember, I'm an office boy, so getting paper cuts. That's about as serious as it can really get. Getting a staple in your finger. Oh man, my wife talks to me about childbirth. I'm like, dude, get a paper cut. Come back to me.
You just pissed every woman watching the show.
And if my wife was listening, it wouldn't be a shotgun in the window. It would be a punch in the face. Rightly so. And rightly so.
I'm out. The island voted Mark off. He's gone.
Childbirth? Are you kidding me? Try getting a paper cut in your finger or stapling your finger to the desk. That hurts.
My wife is very much like, I could actually give birth and just go back to work in the afternoon. I am down for 3-4 days with a paper cut. So that's so what it is like in my household. I don't even know how I tie my own shoelaces.
Mark, you have to join us Monday, brother. Mark, you have to come back Monday for more war stories because your war stories are awesome, buddy.
Let's hear about I want to hear the story about the fight over the copying machine. There has to be one of those.
Right? Or the story when the pen leaked in your pocket and you think it took your nipple off or something. I don't know. There's got to be one like that.
It's a white shirt and you go into a very important business meeting. I know. It's just horrid. It's horrid out there. People don't appreciate bankers.
All right, everybody. We'll see you Monday.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Fantastic weekend for all of you celebrating Canada Day. Go out and celebrate. We'll talk to you on the 4th of July. And, I guess your festivities might start before Monday. So if they do, happy 4th, everybody.
Yep.
Take care.
Happy 4th, y'all.
See you, folks.
Centurion Trucking. Our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion.